Hey.
Hey.
We took 30 minutes trying to set up this shit because we couldn't remember how we did it last time, but I think we figured it out.
Welcome to Rice Hour.
Rice Hour! It's the first time we actually said it.
My
Out
name's
loud.
V. This is my
Co-star B.
period.
This is exciting.
This is making me nervous a little bit.
A little bit. I'm nervous now.
Well,
Look at us. We're like
we're
like
so
in our own
far
little
apart.
we're like in our own little cocoons. I'm so scared.
Abby and I have been friends for
4 years.
that's crazy. 12.
Imagine I got away with saying, yeah, we're only friends for 4 years. No, lies. 12 years.
I think it's 12.
That's
actually.
a really long time. 12
Since
years.
we were like 7, 6.
Okay, but 12
6.
years ago I was 10, you know? The math.
20, 21, 22. 16 years.
Clearly we're old enough to still count with our hands. Too. 16?
Yeah, dude.
Almost 20 years?
Yeah.
I let you do the math because I didn't want to.
We're both Asian, but we can't do math.
What?
What?
I thought that was going to be so irrelevant. We're both Asian. Huh? Okay, because we agreed to talk about our childhood, so I thought you were gonna end it at we're both Asian and we've known each other for 16 years. That's it. Okay, we've known each other for 16 years.
Yeah. YouTube was like,
Let's talk about the YouTube channel.
I remember like Chaps the Fan Club being you, me, Army, Christine, and then sometimes other people.
Sometimes other people. I think
And
along
then-
the way, less people were making videos.
Yeah, and then towards maybe 4th or 5th year of high school, it turned into Army was making her own videos, I was making our own videos, you were making your own videos, sometimes we would make videos together.
Oh, that's true, because we were making videos separately, but still posting on the
Exactly.
same. Like, some of us would make vlogs.
Yeah, edits.
Yeah.
I remember the first time. Actually, okay, I need to air this out because for the longest time, me and Abby, when we were friends and we became friends, we got really, really close in 2nd year of high school because we had the classes together. Our lockers were next to each other.
Oh, yes.
We always said, I don't know if you remember this, that we would never work together because we're so unserious that we would never work together and we don't think it would ever work. Then one time we had a project together and it went so well that we were like, wait, this might
we're really
actually
good
work.
together. But there was one school project we did and we worked on it together that was video related. Do you remember it?
Mm-mm.
In Itzig?
Oh my god, 50 questions, one person?
50 questions?
50 person, one question?
Wait, what did you say?
I said 50 questions, one person.
Oh, I thought that was right. No, isn't it 100 people and 50 questions? No, wait.
50 personnes.
I keep fucking it up.
50 questions. Non, 50
personnes.
personnes, une question.
I swear we did 100. I swear we did 100.
Maybe it was 100, but I can't remember. Either
Okay,
way.
but either way,
yeah.
the project was...
I do remember
Yes,
that.
the project was we had to come up... Well, we had to be in teams, basically. And the teacher said it would be video related. We already had experience in this field, so we went out with our phone camera. We even used our own phones for mics too. So we had it all we were very DIY. We worked with what we had, and it turned out really great. And we had the best project too.
Creatively, video wise and whatever.
We were really good.
We were really good.
always
And I
good.
remember seeing that when we did awkward interviews or spelling bee. I can't remember which one of it was first. But when we did that,
Shit.
that's when I felt, at least,
I
that
think also that was the most fun I've ever had making videos, when it was just the
it
two
was
of us.
so stupid.
You want to describe? Can we talk about the spelling bee one?
Oh my god. So Abby and I had this genius idea.
We were genius
to create this video where we would go around and ask people at our school words to spell. But these words were not real, so we just came up with random
We made
words,
up words
and the way to
non-existing
spell
words.
it, and then we would ask these people, "Oh, can you spell? What was it? Booble noise?
Booble no! Oh my god! Look at you!
Look at me with my brain.
There was another one with the word nipple. I swear. No, there wasn't. Booble noise was one.
Yeah,
We made up stupid words, and we'd come up. This was so. That's why lunchtime was so exciting for me, because when we knew we had a good idea, for like a YouTube video, I always looked forward to lunchtime because that was the time all the kids were out, all of our friends from other classes were out, and
we were able to literally bother them during their lunchtime.
We were able to just go up to them. We didn't even ask if they wanted to be
interviewed
on camera. We just go up to them. We were so stupid. We'd come up to them and be like, do you want to be on our YouTube channel? We're going to ask you to spell a couple of words with us.
Yeah, we also had another video. This one was my favorite, was asking dumb questions to people.
Is this awkward interviews?
Yeah, awkward interviews.
I don't remember the questions we asked.
I remember one question was like, if the grass is green, how old are you?
Oh, okay, yeah. So we would ask like non-logical questions.
Yeah, and my favorite
made no sense.
Was asking people that we used to have crush on.
Wait, what? I don't remember. I don't rewatch.
I've rewatched a lot of our videos. Clearly, I'm a big fan of Chopsting Fan Club.
Like,
they're like, why would you ask that?
They also I feel like these videos reflect our personality now. Like, we were so dumb then, and we're still dumb right now. Like, that's still our humor today.
So after high school, Abby and I kind of drifted apart a little bit. We were together in the same school since primary, and it was the first time that we'd be apart. We went to rival schools, actually.
Oh, we did.
When I applied to Cégep, I did a letter of intent saying I was a person of color, and then I got accepted 3 days later. Okay. And I didn't have the best grades, so honestly, definitely a
diversity hire.
A diversity acceptance. You were in cinema.
I was in cinema. I was doing my own little stuff, like not vlogs, but like actual like stylistic editings, like editing videos. Because in high school we did the dumb YouTube shit, and when I got into Vanier, I got into video making, so I learned how to edit more professionally and I started making student films. So like that's when creatively I started finding my own style. So I started making my own videos that weren't so stupid but like actually like artistic and like a little bit more on the cinematic side. So I was doing like little videos of my own. You stopped completely, remember?
Yeah, I had a terrible time in college, actually.
Because of law?
So it was the first time that I was ever really like put in a situation where I was a minority. It was very whitewashed. It was a huge culture shock for me. There was a few people of color here and there, but I never felt comfortable enough to go and talk to them. I never felt comfortable to even make friends with white people. And it was really hard for me during college. The only friends that I made were friends of friends, and that's pretty much it.
Were they people of color?
Most of them were white.
Yeah.
I honestly just stayed close to the people from high school.
Yeah.
It's different because we grew up in schools where white people were barely
non-existent.
Really the only white people we saw was maybe like 3 people in the whole grade.
Sometimes the whole grade, only 3 white people. Everyone else, you'd be sitting next to a Filipino, one fucking Arab guy, and then
a
like
black
a black guy behind you.
us.
Even in my classes, that was the first time in my school experience that I saw so many white people.
Well, I did not want to stay there one more bit. How was it like for you to get into university? What was your process of applying?
So I already knew I wanted to do video production in university, so I like made a portfolio. I put 2 of my like strongest student films. I wrote a really good letter of intent and I sent it off to Concordia, and I didn't get an answer for a while. Well, we were all nervous because only 20% get accepted, something like that.
20%,
like 1,000 people can apply, but only 200 people get in. So that's why it came to such a surprise when I got accepted. I'm like, fuck, maybe I did do pretty good.
For me, it was kind of like a long process. I never really knew what I wanted to do. Right, yeah. I was struggling a lot, even in high school. I think in high school, I started to get really into human rights. And I did career counseling. Amazing career counselor at my school. Love that man. And with him, we merged a lot of like what I liked doing and what I didn't like doing. One of the things I didn't like doing was writing. But a lot of the things I did like doing is yapping. And I remembered a lot of the times in high school when me and Abby used to make these videos. And I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I am good at that.
You always had an activist inside of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So that explains a lot.
So with the idea of like helping underprivileged groups and yapping, we came up with the idea of journalism.
Yeah, journalism sounds like such an exciting thing to get into, especially as underprivileged people like us. Like that's and like your impulse to help people.
Yeah.
To like that just sounds like a dream.
We're currently in university now.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to do a minor in human rights because that made the most sense for me. One, talking to people, and human rights, you know, helping underprivileged get a voice. And it just made the most sense to me. I loved it for the most part. So in my first year of journalism school, I kind of prepared myself to be surrounded by a lot of white people. So I definitely prepared myself to be a minority in that program. And when I went to school, I was kind of surprised to see not that many people in my program. But who wants to be a journalist? You know, who wants to get underpaid for the work that they do? And I thought that journalism school would be like a mix of like video editing, video recording, interviewing, and writing. And I was trying to avoid writing as much as possible because I don't like writing. But all we did was writing.
And I think you hated it because you had to do it so much.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly. You had to do a lot of writing.
Yeah. I guess as time went on, I realized I did not like it. I only realized last semester, the semester that just passed, that I actually don't like journalism at all. And I came to that conclusion a semester before I'm supposed to graduate. I'm going to get it done either way because I want my bachelor's degree, but it had a lot to do with the environment that I was in. The teachers weren't very supportive. And like I said, I prepared myself to be surrounded by white people, but sometimes when you pitch ideas to your teachers or you say the wrong things, it affects your grade, and it sucks because I'm sorry that I grew up in a Asian dominated area.
You wouldn't think it would affect your grade.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that talking about your issues or issues about your community would affect your grade, but it did.
Yeah.
Which is strange in journalism where you want to talk about issues.
Yeah. So one of the stories, in my first year, my teacher asked us, and I will remember this until the day I die. My teacher had asked us to pitch an idea for like a writing, or I think it was a video interview actually, because I ended up doing something. It was a video interview, and I was really excited. And I pitched the idea. We just got out of COVID, and I said I wanted to do an interview to like Asian businesses, specifically in like Asian areas or like Chinatown, and interview them and see how their business was affected by COVID, you know, because I remember there was stories about some Asian businesses being like destroyed, like physically destroyed, like glasses were breaking on their windows and stuff because of COVID.
Yeah.
And I pitched this idea in front of the class because usually our pitches are like that. Works, yeah. And she told me, do you have proof of that? Do you have proof that that happened? Do you have any percentages that that happened? How do you know that this is happening? Which is a very fair question to ask. But if you're gonna ask me, you should probably ask the other students as well, whether whatever they're reporting on is actually happening. It just sucked because I had to not do that. I couldn't do that story anymore because she didn't think that was a thing.
She didn't think what was a thing?
That Asian businesses were being affected.
She didn't. What do you mean?
Because
she didn't believe in it, or because you had nothing to prove? Like,
because
no
I had
evidence?
nothing to prove, or not.
And dude, like stuff like that happening was a huge.
Yeah, the Asian community was affected so huge. Much during COVID.
Not just like when it started being like spread around, like because it wasn't happening just in Canada, like in the States as well. Yeah. Like Asian elders were being beat. Harassed, and well, Asian people in general were being like verbally harassed in the street. Like these were things that were happening right in front of our eyes. Even if you weren't seeing it in person, these were things that were happening in the news. Yep. You'd hear it in social media, like, oh, this just happened to this Asian kid, or this just happened to this Asian business. So that's crazy to me that like
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, is that
And
okay? If it's
yeah, it's
dangling,
fine.
okay.
And the one thing that I wanted to focus on the most is how certain like minority groups, marginalized groups, that's the right word. That's the word I've been looking for this whole time. Certain marginalized groups, or most marginalized groups, don't go to the police to report on certain things because they don't think that nothing's gonna happen. And unfortunately, that's what happened with a lot of Asian people during COVID. That
So
they
it goes
didn't want to.
unrecorded, basically. Yeah.
So sometimes statistics aren't gonna be
Ah.
truly there. People of color have to fight wherever they have to go, wherever career they want to get into. People of color have to fight, and journalism is not the place I want to fight for. There was, I will say, there was a really sucky time that I was taking a radio class, and I told you this story,
Okay.
where I had mentioned like a Kumon building was under fire or whatever, and I said that on the radio, like a Kumon fire was whatever attacked by like a Mazel Tov cocktail.
And what's Kumon?
That's the question I got.
So
for me, Kumon is everyone knows what Kumon is.
Everyone knows what Kumon. If you're Asian, you know even if you're not Asian,
when
you
we
know
went
what
to
Kumon is.
when we went to primary school, half the kids were in
All
Kumon.
of our friends
it
went
was
to
so
Kumon.
common.
It's a mass.
So when I went on the radio and I said a Kumon building was under fire, we have like a little debrief after the radio show, and my teacher asked me what is a Kumon building. And I was so confused because what do you mean, what is a Kumon building? It's like asking me what is IGA is.
Yeah.
Or what is Pharmaprix.
Yeah.
Or what is Jean Coutu. It's kind of like that for me. And I was like, I stuttered a little, and my TA, who's half Asian, was like, oh, Vina, that's a Asian thing. And I didn't know. And I was like, oh, well, it's a tutoring place. And I went home and I was so confused. I told my mom about it. She's like, what do you mean they don't know what Kumon is?
We have a Kumon in our neighborhood.
Everywhere. Every block there's a Kumon. Yeah.
Like
that's when I knew. I didn't know that it was just an Asian thing.
I didn't think about that either, that like it's not a common thing outside of our community. But when you told me that, I'm like, it's an Asian thing. So that's a problem?
Yep.
So that's a problem. Now you cannot report on a story because
I had to say a tutoring building was under fire. That doesn't sound
relevant anymore. A building caught on fire. Okay, what's the relevancy? What the fuck? This is that's why you would need to specify that it's
Abby's
a Kumon
getting
building.
mad. Abby's getting
that
mad
is
for me.
Usually for immigrant children. That's crazy.
I went through my 5 stages of grief already. I've gone over it, but
grade.
Yeah,
I mean, it affected your grade.
Yeah, a lot of the things my grades were affected.
Are you saying all year, every project you made, you pretty much lost the grade because
of
you were being biased? Like you said something about the community and
if I wasn't like fitting into the right standards, I lost some points for my grade. I don't have the best grades in journalism, unfortunately.
And you said this is because the preferred
the white man's voice is the default voice. A person of color's voice is not a default voice. And I've learned that this year, no matter what a person of color says, people will only listen to a white man's voice. And I had to learn this the hard way this semester.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sucked ass.
When you watch the news, it's always a middle-aged white man holding a camera, just like he could be filming a protest and then have nothing else to say about it. Have no opinion. Have no position. And
that's exactly what they want in journalism.
Yeah, whoever that white man is with the camera documenting or reporting like whatever's going on in the real world will have no position to it because they don't need a position, right? But in the filmmaking world, you could have a camera in your hands and you can have a position. You could talk about whatever issue you want and you could have an opinion and you can be biased.
It could be subjective.
You could be subjective. That's the biggest difference. That when you told me your stories about journalism, I found myself being really thankful because if I took journalism instead of filmmaking, I would be so depressed. I would want to kill myself.
I was so envious.
I think you told me too, like it made you really depressed.
Yeah,
too.
I hated it. I didn't want to make friends.
Cause like to be shut down and for wanting to talk about your issues. So that's why I, in film production, that's the biggest difference. You can be subjective. You could talk about your issues and have a position on it. So the difference in my program is you could do fiction stuff, but I'm in the nonfiction section, so I focus more on like documentaries and like personal movies about family or like real issues that are happening in the real world. So that's kind of that's where my work stands. I remember in my first year, I felt really out of place. The fact that I was the only Filipino there kind of made me uncomfortable because I didn't see how other people could relate to me. When I saw just how much, on a technical level, when I saw how much better my classmates were, and the thing is, we've had the same level of education too, but somehow I just got really self-conscious, basically, seeing how much better their films on a technical level were to mine. I got so self-conscious, especially with that first video project. I really hated mine. Everyone else did so much better. And I don't want to say depressed, but I got so anxious every day going to school knowing that my classmates were better than me. And it sucked. So when we started working on our second projects, I made that project about the Philippines when I went to the Philippines, and I basically used old videos from when I traveled to the Philippines. And I compiled a video together and made it about my Filipino identity. So I did that. I feel like subconsciously I did that because if everyone else in my class is better than me, how can I stand out?
Yeah.
Like, what story of mine could stand out more? And that's when I decided to talk about my Filipino identity and like the Philippines, because who else is going to relate to that? That kind of became a weapon of mine, so realizing that like I'm the only Filipino person in this classroom. I could make shit about being Filipino.
Yeah.
So as the years went by, I decided to focus more of my films, more of my like student projects on issues like
your identity,
and like ethnicity and cultural issues and cultural differences. And I'm able to do that in my program. I don't have a teacher saying that like, no, like you need to talk about white people, or no, you need to talk about issues that are more felt in a majority kind of way. So I could be a minority all I want in my class, in my program. I think I'm the only Filipino person in the entire program, and I use that as a weapon. So, and I love that I could talk about it. I love that I can talk about being Filipino.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it too. I think I'm also the only Filipino.
Yeah.
And Pakistani.
Yeah. But when people start coming up to me and like really acknowledging my stories and what I had to say and my skill too, I was like, fuck, this is great. Like I could actually have a voice.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. My problem is with journalism is that I prefer to build connections with people and not just go and interview people and that's it. Like,
okay, yeah.
I want to, let's say we didn't know each other and you were like, hey, this happened to me, and I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate, let me report it, and then I never speak to you ever again. That's unfortunately a lot of journalism, and I don't.
You'd rather do that, or
I'd rather like keep a connection,
have
with
a relationship
you. And, like,
with the
yeah. Like that's why I have this podcast now, because I feel like it's important to not only like, people don't just have one stories in their life. You're not
that one traumatic event.
Exactly. Literally, you're not that one traumatic that happened to you. That's you're more than that. Like,
but yeah. But at its core, we wanted, because we're activists at heart. That's why they took journalism. That's why I took filmmaking. That's why I talk about being Filipino. That's why you want to talk about
people of color.
People of color too, and that's why you have this.
Yeah,
because like you weren't able to do this in journalism.
Yeah,
and when you did, your grades got affected. What the fuck? And like I got to do the same in filmmaking too, and I think like filmmaking aside, having a podcast is another really good outlet to talk about issues like that.
Yep. So unfortunately, this is the end. We've been going at it for an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh.
My cat's been asleep for most of
He's
the
been
time.
a good boy.
Thank you so much for watching Rice Hour. I have been V.
I have been B.
And we'll see you next time.
At Rice Hour. On Rice Hour?
On
At the next Rice Hour.
On the hour of the rices.
On the hour of the rice. Check your watches.
Your rice is done cooking now. Oh,
you know when the rice is done?
Your rice is now heated up.
Your rice is now heated up. Your rice is now ready.
Go eat.
Go eat. Bye bye.
Because we served.